To mark 1 year since 2014 summer war between Israel and Hamas, we mentioned it here with Martin, the militant group ruling the Gaza Strip has released a short film that depicts select moments from one deadly day of the war using dramatization, all as well as original footage. Military correspondent Shai Ben Ari has more on Hamas's show of strength 1 year on.
As both Israel and Hamas mark a year since the events of Operation Protective Edge last summer, the guns are for the most part silent, but the propaganda war is blaring loud and clear. A 35-minute documentary film was placed Sunday on the website of Azadin al-Qassam, Hamas's military wing. The film is presented as an in-depth look at the events of July 19th and 20th, 2014, which ended with numerous Israeli casualties. It includes interviews and commentary by Hamas militants who took part in the events, as well as officials. Early in the film, former IDF Chief of Staff Lieutenant General Benny Gantz can be seen with his entourage, examining security arrangements along the Israel-Gaza border. Hamas says the footage was captured by its own cameras, less than a bullet's distance away. It is unclear exactly when this footage was shot. Much of the film focuses on dramatizations, which recreate a Hamas military operation to detonate explosives at this Israeli communications facility near the border, not far from the Israeli kibbutz of Nahal Oz and the Gaza neighborhood of Shujaiya. The militants are depicted cutting the fence separating Israel and Gaza. The objective was to simultaneously bomb the facility and ambush a convoy of Israeli armored vehicles.
We received information the convoy had changed direction. After we had already set up the attack on the communications site, we immediately changed our position to go and ambush the convoy.
Here, the film depicts the ambush on an IDF vehicle, an incident which ended with 7 Israeli soldiers killed, with the body of First Sergeant Oren Shaul snatched by Hamas. Hamas says this footage is original and was taken during the incident itself.
With thanks to God, we have completed this mission successfully after Allah chose us and we managed to hit the enemy. We killed a few soldiers, we destroyed some military vehicles, and I managed to take an M16. Here you can see the blood of the soldier on the weapon. The battle is still ongoing and we are waiting for the moment to withdraw.
The film also features tributes to Hamas militants killed in the fighting and even identifies the IDF casualties by name. Operation Protective Edge ended after 50 days of fighting, but the war over its narrative continues even now.
Yes, military correspondent Shai Ben Ari is here with me. Good evening, Shai.
Good evening, Lucy.
So, 1 year, they beat a lot of people here in Israel to do a film 1 year after the war.
Impressive, huh?
Fascinating what we're seeing from their point of view, of course. But let's take one specific moment there, Benny Gantz. Yeah. It worried some people in Israel.
Right. This film basically made a lot of headlines here in Israel, primarily because of that footage where we see Benny Gantz patrolling along the Israel-Gaza border within range of a camera or, say, a bullet belonging to Hamas. All signs actually point to this footage being shot not during Operation Protective Edge. This whole film is dedicated to a year since Protective Edge, and they don't actually say when this footage was shot. All signs, if you notice the greenery in the area, we're talking about supposedly July or August. In that area, not a lot of green to be seen. That would
you know
one hint, yeah.
You know this by fact.
Exactly. That would hint that this was perhaps shot afterwards. Also, the very fact that, let's say hypothetically, this was shot during the Operation Protective Edge, Hamas is doubtful it would have passed on the opportunity to actually take a shot at the Israeli Chief of Staff. That would have been seen as a major achievement. If you do it after the war, that entails perhaps triggering another war, and that would perhaps give Hamas cause to think again.
Especially when you're in such a deep trouble, and especially when you don't have the money and you're isolated.
This is a lot to think about.
But let's talk a little bit about the capabilities of these guys, because it seems that they're using HD cameras and some a taste of ISIS.
Right, they've come a long way.
Isn't
that nice? You know, they've come a long way since their previous media campaigns, which often, it has to be said, in Israel would be more of a cause for laughter than fear. There were often many jokes made about the mistakes that you would see in very basic Hebrew when Hamas tried to communicate directly with Israeli audiences. This is a different story. Here we're seeing that the bar has been raised when you talk about a new media sort of context, and it has to be said the bar has been raised by one organization, the Islamic State, And it seems that others are going in that path. And certainly, Hamas has come a long way. We're talking about totally different production values when you talk about equipment, when you talk about editing. Yeah, an impressive advancement.
I love your half smile or big smile when you're saying that. Yes, they've come a long way. Shai Ben Ari, thank you very much for this. Yes.